Hello, everyone. I am Lindsay, and I am with Maria, and we are Roomies Review Movies. And today we are reviewing 2001's uh, movie called Jacked Up.
Mhm.
And the movie stars quite a few familiar names. One of them being RonReaco Lee, um, Alexis Fields, Anna Marie Horsford, and Bizzy Bone. so yeah, so this movie also has the two brothers from Next, from the singer group Next in it as well. Um, this movie was done in 2001, shot mainly in Columbus, Ohio, which that's where the scene is or the set is or whatever in Columbus. So let's go ahead and dive into the movie. In the movie, you have two high school kids. The two kids are Rodrigo Lee's character, which is hold on, let me pull it up.
He was 24 at the time, and he looks
Yeah,
24 in the movie.
right, right. His name is Dre, and then you also have I can't remember the bigger one. The bigger one in next. What was his name?
I don't know.
Hold on, let me see if I can pull it up. Let's see. Mm-mm-mm. See, what are their names? Um. Oh, okay. So, the bigger one, his name was Tilo, and then the other one, the third one, his name is Tweety. So Tilo and Tweety.
Okay.
Yeah, and both of them
Sure.
are in the movie. But Tilo and uh, Ronrico Lee's character, which is Dre, both of them are high school. Um, I I guess they're seniors. They're high school
Oh, you
seniors,
have
and
no idea. We just they're in high. Well, you know what? No, because he's talking about going to college and everything. So yeah, he's got to be a senior.
yeah, yeah. So they both are high school seniors, and they're also about to join a gang. The gang is ran by Busy Bones' character, which is Zach, and
Zachariah.
right, that's short for Zachariah. So, so you know, he's gonna let them in, but they have an initiation process that they have to go through. In the initiation process, they have to carjack someone. So they go through this whole situation where they carjack this person. They do it at the worst time because there's cops around and everything. Like
It's
nobody
still
really thought it through.
easy to see outside. Like it's not
Yeah,
nighttime. I don't.
right,
Nobody's
totally. So
wearing like a mask or anything. Like
nobody's wearing a mask. It's broad daylight, and like it completely doesn't make sense why you would do this now. But here we are. So, so um they have this instance where the guy is pulling up to a stop sign, and Zach tells them, "Okay, it's showtime. Who's gonna go first?" Well, um, Tilo Tilo's character, he's like, "I'll do it." He's way eager, and Zach is like, "Yeah, no." So he tells Dre to do it. So Dre is reluctant. He's like, "Man, we can't do this any other way or anything like that." And he's just like, "No, the gun ain't even loaded. Like, just do it."
right, no bullets in the gun. I was like, well, that's a lie.
Right, right. So he reluctantly goes to the guy, and he tells him to get out the car, points the gun at him and everything through the window. Um, Dude gets out the car, no trouble, whatever. But he's like, standing at the car because he's shook because this man is still pointing a gun at him. So the cops are watching this. And then Zach sees that the cops are watching. So he's like 5-0. So as soon as he did that or whatever, the guy that he was carjacking grabs for the gun. So they have a little tussle for the gun. The gun goes off, shoots the guy in the stomach. So now Dre is shook. He's like, WTF, what did I just do? And he's like reluctant to leave. Although Tilo's character is telling him, come on, like he had to grab him away. So he grabs him away. They start running, but the cops now are out of the car, running towards them. And so one of them is trying to assist the guy that got shot. The other one takes off running against the shooters. So he ends up catching up to Dre, and Tilo's character
Got away.
shoots the cop.
Come back and try the cop.
Yeah, to let Dre go. And so Dre is like, OMG, why did you do that? And he's just like, man, come on, let's go. So he goes, excuse me, but he's pissed off. He was hoodwinked, bamboozled, run amok because he thought that this gun was not loaded. So they run into this house. Looks like they may have been like in the garage of a house. And in the house, there Zach is already there. So he's asking him like, y'all didn't get followed, did y'all, or whatever? And he's like, no, we didn't get followed. But Tilo's like, I smoked a cop. And so he's giving him props for doing that. Then this whole time, Dre is like not in the building for any of this foolishness. He is like,
But you joined the gang. Like, what did you think you were gonna be doing?
who knows? Who freaking knows? But he was not here for it at all, not in the least. So then we have this whole scene where Dre and Zach are pretty much going back and forth about this situation because he is upset that the gun was loaded and that he didn't shot this cop, or not the cop, but he didn't shot this person. And he's like, you don't know, like the person could have had a family, this, that, and the third. I messed up, blah, blah, blah. Zach is like, dude, you a killer now. You need to get over it, blah, blah, blah. So
You joined a
they
gang,
have,
my God. Dude, why did you think this was Boy Scouts? I don't understand. What did you
right.
think you were going to do? Just be an accountant?
That's what I don't understand because he obviously wasn't there to sell the drugs. So what are you there for? Or I mean, it wasn't like you were getting bullied in school, so you didn't need protection. So is it just something that you just got pulled into because your best friend really wanted to be a part of it? That's the only thing I can think of. Because I'm just like, what was the whole purpose? Like you had a
You didn't think you're
promising
gonna do
future.
gang activities? I don't. How are you
Yeah,
surprised? How
like
are you shocked?
he just wanted to go to the party. That's what that was. He just wanted to go to the parties. But but yeah, so we actually get a really good acting scene out of Bizzy Bone on this scene. And it's so funny you put up a clip of that scene because this is my favorite scene in the movie. Like I watched it quite often that I sometimes recite it. So so on that part he's just like, um you little hostile, you all up in my circumference. You act like you want me to give you a fucking hug or something. Like and he's like, if you want to go, there's the door. But just remember, you's a killer dog. A
Right.
killer. Shout out to Bizzy Bone. So yeah. Yeah.
Busy Bone was actually really good. And it's just as I was saying earlier, he's like he kills the most people, and he's also the comic relief, which is like a
Right,
really
right.
odd choice. You wouldn't think of that as a combination to go together, but he's really enjoyable in the movie.
Yeah, I know, right? And it's not just because he's busy bone, but it
No,
his his character was actually written pretty well, but and I liked him saying that you all up in my circumference. I don't know why. I just really like that part. So,
it's the way he
but
says
yeah,
it.
right, right. He was like so calm. He was like, "You all up in my circumference."
Circumference.
Right. So, Dre goes on ahead and leaves. He's just like, this the gang life is not for me. So he leaves. Um, his friend stays. So now his friend is a part of the gang, and Dre is he's like really messed up mentally over what he did to the
Yeah, I
point
don't
where
know
he's
what
like
it
low.
is.
So yeah, even though he's like trying to push forward, like he tried to confess to his mom wouldn't let him talk because she was so excited he got into 2 colleges. I think he got into Ohio State and Georgetown. So excuse me. So yeah, so she wouldn't let him confess. Um, but he's also still trying to get through school and um, go through what you go through your senior year. Prom and graduation and final exams and all that, which he is doing successfully, but he's still kind of messed up in the head. Uh, and then there's a couple of scenes where he thought about just ending it all and whatnot. But then he started going through the motions to try to figure out, because I think we fast forwarded a year, and he
Yeah,
still kind of messed up. He ended up not going to school. Um, Now a year later, his friend Tilo's character, he is like big time in this gang, and like he's jacking people for kicks and giggles and whatnot. And so he's talking to him, and he was just like, I feel like I might need to go on ahead and turn myself in. And Tilo was really trying to talk him out of it or whatever. And he's successful. I'm talking about because he didn't turn himself in. But with him not turning himself in, he's still kind of haunted by what he's done. So what he wants to like check in on the family, to check if the person even had a family, to see how they're handling this whole situation a year later. And so with him doing that, he goes
Dre
through
is
the
a
white paper.
villain. Dre is a villain. You hear me? He is
You think
sick.
so? Yeah, I
Yes.
saw that a few times. I saw you tweet that a few times. I think he's tormented. I think
He's
he's
tormented,
tormented.
and he's tormenting them. Like he's ruined their lives twice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. It's like he had good intentions, but he didn't know how to execute those good intentions. You know what I mean?
Leave them alone.
Yeah.
Just leave them
Right.
alone.
I agree. He definitely should have left him alone. But so so yeah, so he goes through the white pages. And for anybody that's listening that doesn't know what a white pages is, white pages is a book that the phone company used to give out annually that had people's names, addresses, and phone numbers listed in it. And if you needed somebody's phone number, you would just go to the white pages and look them up. It was alphabetical. And yeah, we don't have those books anymore.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So yeah, we had the yellow pages and the white pages. Yellow pages was for commercial, and the white pages was for residential.
Yep.
Yeah, good times. And so yeah, so He's going through the white pages. He gathered a list of people that could have been related to the deceased, and he starts calling down the name or calling down the list or whatnot. And he asked for the person that he kill's name.
Yeah, I think it was
If
Mr.
they answer
Evans.
the phone or if somebody say, "Oh, well, they're not here right now" or anything like that, he'll just hang up. Um,
He's
if somebody
investigating
tells
his own crime.
basically. So if they
Just
tell
go to the
him that,
police. Just go to the police, sir. Just go confess, please.
you know, just conscience that way, just handle it, but no, he couldn't do that. So if they told him that the person was deceased, he would inquire a little bit more, and that's how he ended up, coming up to the conclusion that he found the people that he needed. So with him finding the people that he needed, he started staking out their house. With him staking out the house, he found out that
Well, see,
the
his whole thing is that he would go up to the house that he thought was the one and say, "Hey, it looks like your yard needs raking. I'll rake your yard for you. Can I speak to Mister So and So?"
yeah, that was one way that he did that as well. And he ended up coming up on a house where he had to rake leaves for free, and it wasn't the person's house. So yeah. so so when he found the right people's house, he started staking them out, and he saw the widow leave at night. So he followed her or whatever. Come to find out, she's now a prostitute working the street,
In
like
the street.
literally working the street. Yeah. So prostitutes back then did used to work the streets. Now they do back page. But yeah. So there he ends up acting like he's a John. And she comes up and it's so funny because when she comes up to the cars, she's like, tricks or treat. I have never heard that at all. I've never heard that. I've never heard nobody actually have like a saying that, like, not even just that saying, but a saying at all when they come up on a car. I've never heard that. So I always thought that was pretty funny. But yeah. But every time she came up on the car, she'll be like, tricks or treat. So yeah. So she did that to Dre. And she saw his face and was like, "Oh, you too young," and was about to walk off. And he was like, "No, no, no. Ain't no age limit on money." So he was right. So she got in the car. They went to a hotel room. She starts to get undressed, and he's like, "No, I didn't want to have sex. I just want to talk." So she's just like, okay." So
Yeah, I was
he
wondering how
starts,
far that would go.
yeah, right. He was like really asking questions, and he was prying, trying to get into her personal life, trying to get her name. She mentioned she had her daughter. He wanted to know the daughter's name, and yeah, she basically told him like none of your damn business. Um, she like they had probably like a couple of minutes of exchange, and she was just like, here's your money back, go home. So that was the end
She
of that.
talks about later. She talks about how when her husband was alive, she was a stay-at-home mom, and I
Hmm.
was like, she went from a stay-at-home mom to that okay.
But remember, she was in that life before she was a stay-at-home mom.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
So yeah, she so she leaves the room. He was a little upset they didn't get to talk further. But then um he comes up on the daughter. The daughter got dropped off. Her boyfriend is the other next group member, which is Tweety. Um, he's an asshole. Only thing he really does for her is pick her up and um from work and take her home. That's it. But yeah, he's an asshole, whatever. And you know, he's also, I guess, a nerd or known at school
Yeah.
as being a nerd. So,
I was like,
um,
look at these two with their glasses.
right. So She gets dropped off, and her name is Stephanie. She gets dropped off, and Dre comes up on her and was just like, I see you need your leaves raked. And so then she was just like, I'll get my mom. And so then she's about to go in, and he's like, wait, hold on. I see how he just dropped you off, like he almost rolled you over trying to get off. Like, that's not cool. You need to check him for that, blah, blah, blah. And so then she's just like, you don't know about my relationship. He was in a hurry and making excuses for him. And he was just like, no, I see what he did. You need to check him. So she's just like, I gotta go in the house. So cause she's like a very shy, very timid type of person. So excuse me. The next day, he's staking out the house again, and the sun comes out. Excuse me. The sun comes out, and he ends up following the sun. The son went like to a rec
He's
center.
stalking him.
Yeah, straight up. Like the son went to a rec center and was watching people play basketball, but he didn't participate. Then he was walking somewhere else, and he ended up snatching this girl's purse. So when he snatched the purse, Dre ran after him.
Running. And it look, yeah, running. So just took that woman's purse right out of her hand.
Yeah, right. Somebody please get my purse. So yeah. So so Dre runs after him, trying to talk. He ends up catching him, trying to talk sense to him. Dude is like, who are you? Like, why are you following me? This is weird.
Tell him
So
he needs to not get out the gang life and all that. Like, who?
yeah, yeah, it was
You're
really
like a
weird.
year old. You're supposed to be like a year old. Who are you?
Yeah, like it was stupid weird. So then um he's like trying to get his information, like, what's your name? And he was like, man, I ain't telling you my name, blah blah blah. So then next thing you know, a couple of his homeboys yell his name. And so that's how he got his name. And so he goes over there and was like, so you ready to make some cash? Let's do this and blah blah blah. So then Drake comes over there and was like, no, I don't want you in it. I don't want you in none of that. And y'all need to go
But
on
then they
about your business.
also, like, in between this, they're like tossing this woman's purse around
Yeah,
like it's a
right.
football or something. I was like, this lady's never getting her bag back. Like, damn.
Never, never. I noticed that too because when they went up to the friends that called for him, Dre had the purse and he just tossed it to the side, like, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, poor lady. She'll never know that her purse is like 2 blocks over. so, so yeah. So we have this the interaction with his homeboys that's trying to get him to do some type of illegal activity for some money, and um Dre gets in the middle of it and was like, I don't want my homeboy being a part of this. And dude was like, I don't even know you. What is going on here? And he was like, yeah, you don't know me, but I know your mom and I know your sister. They wouldn't want you part of this. And so
Yeah.
the homeboys was like, okay, so what's the deal, HP? And so then he was just like, I'm out. So then Dre goes after him or whatever. And he was just like, how you know my people? And he was like, oh, well, I was just bluffing about that. But you shouldn't, like, you made a good move. You shouldn't be involved with those knuckleheads, blah, blah, blah. So dude is still like looking
The
at him
entire
like,
family.
this is weird. So HP ends up trying to leave. And Dre's like, ugh, well, do you play video games? So they ended up bonding over video games. So they
You invited
play.
a strange man into your house to play some
Yeah,
video games with you.
yeah. It was so much stranger danger in that. It was crazy. It was crazy. So, so yeah, so they after they get done playing video games, they start to trauma bond about losing their dad and whatnot. So, HP ends up leaving, and so now Dre is feeling even more, remorse for what he's done and whatnot. And so basically, he starts to get in good with HP, and that's how he started getting in with the family.
Yeah.
Stephanie's still not feeling
Instead of
him.
turning himself into the police, he gets himself enmeshed in the whole family have
whole
them
family.
loving, believing, trusting him.
Yes,
I just,
like
why
he
are you
is
doing this to him? Like,
right, right. Like
it's
he is
so
that
crazy.
angel sent from above. Yeah, because like now he's like a mentor to the son, and then like I said, Stephanie's boyfriend is an asshole. He ends up hitting her, and he did this out
It's in the back of the head.
right. He stole on her in broad daylight outside. And when he did that at the greatest time ever because HP and Dre were walking up when he did that. So they beat the hell out of him. And that's how he started to win over Stephanie when he took up for her with that situation. And then they went on a trip to Ohio State, like a day trip to Ohio State. And that's how they started like really talking, because she had graduated, but she wasn't really doing nothing with her life. She was working at fast food. And so he started like, really talking to her about like like long-term plans, going to college and all that kind of stuff. So
You
yeah, so
murdered her father. I'm like, oh,
right. At the end of the day, right? So um so yeah, so he didn't gotten good with Stephanie. Now they're kind of sort of dating. And mind you, the mama still ain't met him officially. She only met him through her tricks or treat
mm-hmm.
voice. So um so she Stephanie sets up like a dinner for the mom to meet him, and
Mm-hmm.
that's how they met. And all the while he's still, still trying to still feeling remorse. He's still like thinking that he's gonna have to turn himself in. It's always in the back of his head, but sometimes he doesn't think about it while he's involved in the situation with the family.
Yeah, no, I'll just, enmesh myself in the family more, make them
Yeah,
more attached to me.
right, right. So with that, yeah. He's Meanwhile, we have this whole situation over to the side with Tilo's character and Zach, because now they're like really in the gang life. And there was a situation with some Detroit people that they ended up killing one of the Detroit gangsters that was in Columbus.
Mm-hmm.
Well, word got back that this person got killed in Columbus. So his homeboys came to Columbus to avenge his death, and they did this at a particular time when Dre was one of the times that Dre went over there and was like, "I want to turn myself in." he did. He went over there and had that conversation with Tilo at least 4 times. Like
Yes.
it was, yeah. So it was one of the times that he went over there to say that, and excuse me, he was getting talked out of it, of course. And
Why? Why even have this conversation?
right, like, are you gonna do it or not? Basically,
You think
but
Taylor's gonna say, "Yeah, you should turn yourself in"? What?
right, right,
We
and
are
I understand.
gangsters. What are you doing? Why are you coming to us for?
Yeah, but I kind of understand why he was doing that because they was involved too. So he's just like, I'm just giving you a heads up. This is what I'm thinking I'm gonna do. If you need to leave town, but I'm letting you know. So I kind of understand why he was doing it, but in the same breath, he low key was went over there to get talked out of doing it because every time he got talked out. So so yeah. So this particular time when he goes over there, saying that or whatever, while he's over there, the Detroit guys come and shoot up the house.
Mm-hmm.
So when they shoot up the house, Dre is simultaneously leaving at the same time, so he doesn't see them at all. But Tilo's character is in the bathroom. He was in the bathroom, and they came up through the side and start shooting through a sliding door
Yeah.
and shot Zach's right hand man. He was just sitting on the couch and they lit his ass up. But Zach was bent down behind the couch and never got touched. because bullets can't go through couches.
Yeah,
So,
of course.
um, so after they stop shooting, that's when Zach pops up and starts shooting at them, and so that's when they leave. So he starts to assess the situation. He realizes that Tilo's character is not there. So he goes to where Tilo's character is. Tilo, while he was using the bathroom, initially he was using the bathroom with the door open. And once they started shooting, he closed the door and he hid in the shower.
Yeah.
So Zach goes into the bathroom. He opens the door. He pulls the curtain back on the shower and sees him, curled up like a little bitch. And was just like, "Oh, I was gonna come and help, but my zipper got stuck." So
Yeah.
he was just like, I'm sure you were." So he just shoots him right there because what are you here for? You know. So that was the end of Tilo's character. Oh,
And it seems like the end of the gang. Like, ain't nobody left.
yeah. But them other flunkies, you know. But yeah, you're right. When nobody like up there with Zach. So so yeah, so we have that situation. Um, so then we have what else? What else happened after that? I think basically what ended up happening was that he ends up he ends up helping HP get onto the basketball team.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah. And
Because
so
he's
when
like,
he
"God, what are you doing? You should be playing sports."
right, right. So he helps him get onto the basketball team. And so he's kind of like a coach, if you will, but not
He's like
of the
a father figure. He's like becoming a father figure to HB.
right, right. And so that's pretty much how his mom met this other family that he's been spending his time with or whatnot. So um they meet after the game or whatever, and so uh they like HP and Dre end up with Dre's mama and Miss Barnes and Stephanie.
Yeah.
They go on to the house, and so simultaneously, Stephanie's old boyfriend, the one that hit her, he's in cahoots with Zach. And Zach is like, he's already had in his head that they need to get rid of Dre because they know what Dre wants to do. And so he's like, this will be a good way we
Yeah.
can use,
Because her ex is mad at him, so he'll
right.
go kill him for her.
He'll go kill him to be a part of this gang. So
This
he
gang is
got him
going.
drunk. Right. He got him drunk, got him high, and was like, I know what car he drives. I know where he gonna be at. Let's go ride up on him. So he's like, yeah, yeah, let's go do that or whatever. So they ended up going to this parking garage, and
Well, it
they,
was the girlfriend. It was Zach's girlfriend who was like following them. And
yeah,
she called and was like, "Yeah, I see his car or whatever's over here at this place." She was funny too, because like,
yeah, because at first she was Tilo's character's girlfriend, and then when
Mhm.
Tilo got murdered, now she's Zach's girlfriend. And so yeah, so she did tell him and give him the information on where his whereabouts would be. So they go to where the car is, and still getting Tweety drunk and high and all that. And talk them in like, you gonna do this, you gonna handle your business, blah blah blah. So he rolls up on the car and starts shooting without even paying attention to who he's shooting. And the car was
Just her.
parked. It was just one person in the car. And the once he got done shooting, he realized he didn't shot Dre's mama.
Hmm.
So Zach comes up on him and was giving him props, and then he looks in the car too, and he's like, "Who is that?" And so now they're all like, "Oh my god!" So they're in the car, or they run back to the car and leave. So they go back to Zach's house. Tweety's character is just, distraught that he didn't kill the right person. And so then they ended up talking to Zach's girlfriend and was like, "You tell the wrong car." And she was like, "No, y'all killed his mama." And so then Zach was like, "His mama?" And he was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Yeah." And there was a little kid in the car too. And blah, blah, blah. So now Zach is still cool with the whole killing because that may be even worse, killing somebody else. So Tweety's character is still distraught that he didn't kill the right person. So he
He's
looks
having a
like
little, crisis of conscience. Right?
right. He looks like he's gonna go do something like turn himself in or something. So Zach already was like he messed up by not killing Dre, so he's not gonna mess up again with Tweety's character. So he goes on ahead and he shoots Tweety's character, shoots him right in the head. And so after he does that or whatever, the Detroit people come up on him. Or no,
He
no, no.
can't keep a gang
Right,
together. Like he just keeps killing his gang members.
right. So after he shoots Tweety's character, Dre comes up on him. And so because Dre already know who did this to his mama. And so Dre comes up on him and they end up having a fight. And so while they're having a fight, they get done, tussling or whatnot. And he had a gun on him and he was pointing it at him and whatnot. But next thing you know, the Detroit people then came back to the house and they light Zach up. And so when they light Zach up, Dre leaves again. So with Dre leaving, he goes over to the Barnes house and they're all like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for your loss, blah, blah, blah."
That's wrong. Yeah.
So with them doing that, Dre is like, "Yeah, but I need to tell y'all something. And I need to hurry up and tell y'all because the police is coming." And so he goes on and tells them, I'm the one that shot your dad.
Mm-hmm.
And so they are like, "What? You're lying." So while they're going through the emotions trying to process what the hell he just said, the police come. The police pick him up and now they're processing and they're like, Miss Barnes is like, "Get him out of my house." And so he's leaving with the police. And Stephanie comes out. She puts on a whole production, and "I trusted you. How could you do this to me? You shot my daddy." Blah blah blah.
I mean,
And they're
she's right.
yeah, yeah. Like it's pretty jacked up. No pun
It's
intended.
really what are you? I mean, what? Why are you doing this to them?
Yeah. It's pretty jacked up. No pun intended. So yeah. So he leaves with the cops. They're distraught because they're reliving the whole situation. Now they got another added situation on there, which is really gonna mess up their trust issues. You know what I'm saying? Like that was mad jacked up.
He's messed
So
up that entire family
yeah,
twice.
yeah, yeah, he did. So he leaves. Um, he ends up getting 18 years, but he paroled out
That
after
was so
12.
funny. I was like, we have this postscripts on these fake characters.
Right on these fake characters, right? So because we need to tie it up with a bow. So yeah, he got 18 years. He paroled after 12. He ends up going back to Columbus and he sees or he checks up on HP. HP is now a basketball coach at the high school.
Oh, is that
And
okay? I was not. I was like, who are we? Who am I watching right now? Who? Right.
yeah. Because remember the necklace. Remember
Oh
they zoomed
no, I
out
did
from
not.
the necklace. Remember the necklace
Oh,
that
okay.
his dad gave him. So yeah, he's a basketball coach now. And he watched. I mean, and this is the part that's weird because it was a basketball practice. It wasn't a game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And random people don't just come in trench coats and hats to a basketball practice and don't say nothing. Don't nobody know who you are. You don't know nobody here, presumably. And then you just leave. And nobody said nothing to him or nothing. Like, I thought that was pretty weird. But like, it would have made more sense if it was a basketball game than a practice. But
Right.
hey, I didn't direct the film, so yeah. Um so yeah. So we see that HP is the basketball coach or whatever. Then we also understand because Dre got Miss Barnes a job at the Honda plant. And
Mhm.
so she's still on the job. She's a supervisor now. And then we also see that Stephanie works for the New York Times as a journalist.
Which I was like, what? Like, where did that even come from?
Well, remember when he was trying to talk her into going to school, and when they
Yeah.
did go up to school to handle whatever business he needed to handle, when he came out, she
He
was
was like, I
like,
can major in English. Yeah.
"Yeah." So he kind
And I was like, a Times
encouraged
report.
her to
Okay.
go. Yeah, he kind of encouraged her to go to college. So she didn't went to college and became a journalist for the New York Times. And so Dre, he ends up moving to the DMV area and starts working at a Boys and Girls Club and also is taking classes at Georgetown.
Mhm.
So yeah, we wrapped it all up in a bow, and that is jacked up. So, what were your thoughts while you were watching?
It was Dre's villain. He's a villain. He's diabolical. Why would you do this to this family? Like, I can imagine like the extra trauma on top of having their father murdered.
Yeah,
Let me get into your lives and then betray you with this. Like what?
yeah. I just feel like he, like his intentions were good. He just didn't know how to handle the situation that he put himself into.
Were his intentions good? Because it feels like he wanted to assuage his guilt.
Well, it would. I mean, that's not a necessarily bad thing.
Yes, it is because you murdered their father
But
and
yes,
husband,
yes,
and
you
now
murdered.
you want to feel better about it. So you're using the family to make you feel better about the fact that you killed their family member. It's bad.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. That's bad. But I just I don't think he was doing it with the intentions of trying to traumatize them over and over again. I don't. That's the reason why I'm like I think his intentions were good or not. Well, not necessarily good, but weren't bad because he didn't go into it thinking I'm gonna jack these people up again.
But that's the
Like
problem.
I want to re-traumatize them. He didn't go into it like that.
No, no, that don't work.
Okay. Excuse me. I tried. Yeah.
I mean, it's not a huge leap of logic or anything. Come on, what are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. What he did was terrible. What he did was absolutely terrible.
He's
I just
justifying
don't.
it to himself as like, trying to make sure they're okay and healing and whatever. But it's really about him feeling less guilty about murdering their father and husband.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely about him not feeling bad or trying to make himself feel better for what he did.
Yeah,
But I don't think that he went into it with the intentions of re-traumatizing them.
yeah.
That's why I'm like
But he
he,
did.
yeah, he absolutely did. He should have, if for
Like
nothing else, you
you were
should have
literally sleeping with the daughter of the
I don't
man you
think they got
murdered.
that far. I don't
Yes, they
think they got
did.
that.
Yes, they
When did
did.
they?
Yes,
When did they have? Where was I?
because she was like, tonight is the night.
you talking about when she was like, my mama gonna be at work and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, okay. Yes, I guess it's implied that that's what happened. But yeah. Yeah. But she came out of her shell too with him. Cause she was totally
He
in
still
her shell.
murdered her father.
I agree. I totally agree. Like Dre is the worst. Dre is the worst that they can be. I don't disagree. But I don't think that he went into it with that on his mind to do that. He thought that he was trying to make himself feel better by trying to help them out,
Mhm.
and it it did not he did not help them out in the least, you know.
No.
So, so yeah. Yeah, it was, I mean, it was a different take on a situation like that.
Hmm.
So,
And usually in film, someone is the like the perspective that's going to be the person you're supposed to sympathize with, empathize with, the lead, kind of thing. And so you're not supposed to think of their actions as wrong, um, you know. But like, I was just like, when you just lay it out on the table, like, my guy, why are you torturing these people? They did
right, right.
nothing to you,
Yeah,
But
like nobody
we're seeing
deserves.
it from his end when he's like, "Well, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that, trying to be this guy to the son and dating the daughter or whatever." But it's just like, but you murdered their father.
Right.
What happened?
For
They're gonna find
literally no
out.
reason. Right, for literally no reason. Like nothing came from it. Like you should have just stayed in the game. Like at least you could say that, but
Why did
you
you
did that
even
for
join the gang if you did
initiation.
not want to do gang activities? I don't
Right.
understand.
Like you did that for initiation and then you quit. Like what was the reason? You
Oh
know?
no, we did illegal things. Yes.
Usually what gangs do in this day and age at least. But yeah. Yeah. And then,
But I
I
actually
mean,
enjoyed the performances by most of the cast, the main cast anyway.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I was saying before we started or whatever, the acting and the actors for this to be a straight to DVD movie, the actors that they got to be in this movie I mean, they're pretty good actors, you know, and they did a good job for the most of them. Yeah, because like RonReaco Lee, Alexis Fields, Anna Marie Horsford, those are some pretty big names, you know.
Yeah.
And they've gone on. I mean, Anna Marie Horsford, of course, done big stuff prior to the movie, but the others have gone on to do big stuff as well. Because we still seeing RonReaco Lee. Um, but yeah, but I think I had only seen him like one other time before, and that was on Sister Sister.
Mm-hmm.
And that was so crazy that you brought up like them looking older because I remember watching it back then and I was just like, he played an older dude on Sister Sister. So now I'm supposed to believe that he's a high school kid in this. Like he doesn't look that.
No, never.
Like, but it's so funny because it's been a really long time since I watched it. And of course we've been seeing RonReaco Lee since then. So to see him now, he does look a couple years older, but he doesn't look that much older. But he does now, looking at it 20 years later, it's like he does look young. So now I do see when she was like, "Oh, you young." So I see it. I
Yeah.
see what she was seeing now. But back then I was like, he looked old. But I
Right.
was used
Yeah.
to him being old. So
So can you tell
yeah.
me why this was your choice for this week?
Um, it was my choice because I did enjoy the movie. I enjoyed it back then. For obvious reasons. I
For obvious reasons.
well, I gravitated towards the movie back then for obviously because of Bone, Busy Bone
Uh,
in the movie. So with him being in the movie, I was just like, yeah, absolutely, I'm gonna watch this. And then for him to give the performance that he gave, I was impressed, you know. So like I was telling you before, he's been in other movies that
like, when
he
you remember
actually does
watching
a
this
good
movie,
job.
like when it came out, or it goes straight to DVD?
You said what?
You said it was straight to DVD, so you got it like
Yeah, it was a straight
in
to
2000.
DVD movie.
Is it part of your Busy Bone collection?
Hello,
Is it part of your Busy Bone
you
collection?
were
Do you have like a
you were
collection of
paused.
it?
Um, I don't have a big collection, but because
Mhm.
he ain't been in that many things. But I do have this, and then I do have the movie he was in a few years ago called What Now? And that movie, he played a rapper in the movie, but he's one of the main characters, and he did a good job in that as
Mhm.
well. Um, that was a straight to digital release that came out in 2015, and so yeah, so he did a good job in that movie as well. Then he's in a animated series that's on Tubi as well. I haven't checked it out. Like when I tried to watch it, I was really tired, so I fell asleep. But from what I understand, he did good in that as well, and that is called "Fuck Child Support." so, but yeah, from what I understand, he did good in that as well. If you go to Tubi, they don't spell out the word "fuck." It's just F child support. So,
Okay, right.
but but yeah, I want to say it's like 3, 4 episodes that they have on there. But but yeah, like out of all the Bone members, because like in 2007, the other well, Flesh was still in jail, so the other three Bone members, Crazy, Lazy, and Wish, they put out an album, and it was called Strength and Loyalty. And along with that album, they put out a movie that was straight to DVD, and that movie was called I Tried, which their lead single off of the Strength and Loyalty album was I Tried, which was a
Mhm.
big hit. But the movie that they put out talked about, I mean, it was kind of their story, but then it kind of wasn't, because they have a pretty unique story how they met Easy E or whatever. But the movie is basically, what if we did not meet Easy E?
Hmm.
What if we did not become famous rappers? How our lives would have turned out. So, and then they played themselves in the movie, but it's only the three of them because Busy wasn't with them at that time. So,
Mhm.
um, they did an okay job considering they probably done. I think I think Flesh and Crazy was only in one movie before then. So I don't think Lazy and Wish were in anything acting before that movie. So they did a pretty good job with that movie. But I think out of all five of them, I would say Busy is the one that got the acting chops. And so
What would
yeah.
you give this movie in our rating system?
Well, let's pull up the rating system. So we have our movie real rating system, where we have one, excuse me, one, movie reel is trash AF. Two, it exists. Three, entertaining. Four, great. Five, a true classic. I would give it a three.
Mhm.
I would give it. It's like, I understand I'm biased, so I'm giving it the most unbiased rating I can give it. So I would say three. Um,
I would say three as well.
yeah, yeah. So what were some things that stood out to you?
Well, it was entertaining, right? So it was pretty funny to me in a lot of ways that I tweeted about.
Yeah.
But also, like, the performances were good. Like, they weren't bad at all. It was just like the story was crazy. The story was wild.
Yeah. Yeah. So, did you do any type of research about the plot prior to watching?
I try not prior to watching, but afterwards. But I couldn't really find too much about it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, did you read the synopsis or anything before you watched?
No, I didn't. No. Mm-mm.
Okay. So you went into it completely blind. You didn't know what you was signing up for.
Correct. Right. Exactly.
Okay. So, with you going into it completely blind, when you see what's going on, what was your thoughts behind it?
Just like the way they're positioning, particularly Dre, to be like the main character you're supposed to empathize with, but it's really just kind of actually a horror movie for this family. Like from their perspective, it would be an
Yeah.
absolute horror movie.
Yeah.
You know, like because he's like he's stalking the girl and the kid. He makes himself important to their family, right? He's
Mhm.
sleeping with the daughter and like being a mentor to the boy or whatever, right? Only come to find out this man who's now in your family murdered your father.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And went out of his way to find you guys and um
to track you
position
down.
himself to be a person in your family. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's bad. It's bad. It's bad. Um, but yeah.
And I was like, I know the way they're making it, it's not like kind of it's not really presented that way, that way.
Hmm.
But that was just what I picked up on. But yeah, they were doing their best with the content that they had for sure.
Yeah. 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 And I mean, but it is pretty bad. Like when you think of it as a whole, yeah, it is pretty bad. But it's just in the same breath, you're like, Dre really didn't have he didn't go into it with bad intentions.
You don't have to defend him, Lindsay. You don't have to defend him.
All right. I'm done. I'm done. So, but that is jacked up.
Yes,
And so what are we watching next week?
we're watching Clue,
Clue. Okay. What is that on?
1985's Clue. It's on Amazon Prime,
Okay. Okay, cool.
based on the murder mystery game, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
It has a big cult following, and it was one of the only movie that I remember anyway that had a thing where if you went to a different theater, you would see a different ending.
Oh, okay. So how did they pick the endings? They just randomly sent out different endings or
Yeah,
oh,
they
okay.
had three different endings.
Huh. Okay. Cool. All right. All right. So next week is Clue. So
Yes.
where can we find you, Maria?
Oh, you can find me online on any social media site. If I'm there, I'm going to be at Valar More Dollars. That's VALARMOR dollars. Also on a podcast with some other Black women talking about nerdy and geeky things called Nerdgasm Noir. So you can hear me over there as well. Where can I find you, Lindsay?
You can find me everywhere at L_Ranelle. That's L_RANELLE. And then I also have another podcast called The Ish We Talk, where we talk about a variety of different topics. So yeah.
What did y'all talk about this week?
What did we talk about? Well, we do every week. We have a segment where we pick the song that's pretty fucked up, and we call it the fucked up song of the podcast. And so what we do is we just go through the lyrics of that song, and we pick a new one every week. This week, We picked Bobby Womack's I Wish He Didn't Trust Me So Much.
Oh wow. What?
I don't know if you know the story behind Bobby Womack, but he was best friends with Sam Cooke and ended up um, smashing his wife after he died. So,
Yeah.
yeah. And then, from what I also understand, was that his brother uh, smashed the wife too, and then ended up marrying the daughter, or maybe that was him. It's some intertwining.
What?
Yeah, it's some intertwining with that,
Oh
but
my goodness.
because Bobby Womack started this gangster shit. He got beat up for it by Sam Cooke's brother. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that sounds right.
huh?
That sounds right.
Yeah, it was appropriate. So yeah, so we've already talked about, like, in the beginnings of the podcast, we had already talked about Bobby Womack and you know his his foulness, but but we talked about that song on our last episode. So yeah. So yeah. So yeah, so that's it. So yeah, so everyone, leave a comment, let us know your thoughts about Jacked Up, or if you have any other suggestions on movies that we may not have seen. Just leave that in the comments as well.
Yes,
But
love to hear from you all.
yes, absolutely. But that is Jacked Up for this week, and next week it will be Clue. So we will see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye. See you next week, Roomies.